So right now they are going to have a press conference on this. We're waiting for the press conference. So while we're waiting for our press conference, I am going to be discussing other things. Okay, hold on. So the person is 22, 22, Tyler Robinson. Okay, hold on.
Try not to bounce it too hard, but I just need to know it. Yeah, I want our staff to know it. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. You're. I never. Yeah, like I've I think last time I had it. I didn't consider trying it out.
The suspect in Charlie Kirk's assassination has been identified as Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old Utah resident. Law enforcement sources told the Daily Mail that Robinson was taken into custody as the alleged assassin who unalived Kirk at a rally at Utah Valley University in Utah on Wednesday. The alleged killer confessed to his father, who is a 27-year veteran of the Washington County Sheriff's Department, sources told Daily Mail. His father then contacted authorities and secured his son before he could be taken into custody. Wow. Again, it's saying the alleged killer confessed to his father, with a 27-year veteran of the Washington County Sheriff's Department. So, this could be someone that his father took him to the firing range. Who knows? Okay. Um, Tyler Robinson, 22 of Utah. Definitely someone younger than I would have anticipated. His father then contacted authorities and secured his son before he could be taken into custody. His mother, Amber Robinson, works at works for Intermountain Support Coordination Services, a company contracted by the state of Utah to help disabled people receive care. Robinson was a student at Utah Valley University, so I kind of figured that this person was a student because they seem to know the layout of the school. So insiders confirmed to Daily Mail. Robinson was taken into custody around 11 p.m. local time in southern Utah on Thursday night. So he was actually apprehended last night, 11 p.m. local time in southern Utah. He lived in a $600,000 six-bedroom home in Washington. So he definitely, is not, poor. In Washington, Utah, about 260 miles south of Kirk's assassination in Orem. Officials have yet to confirm a motive to the assassination. Authorities said at a press conference on Thursday night that Robinson will face the death penalty if convicted of the assassination. And this is the actual picture, which I will post in just a second. It says the suspect in Charlie Kirk's assassination has been identified as Tyler Robertson, a 22-year-old resident of Utah. So this is the actual picture they posted of Tyler, according to the Daily Mail, okay? So what do you all think? I actually wanted to go back and look at my graphics. Now it's crazy, but I kind of figured this person will have some sort of pimples or acne or things like that. Tyler Robinson. I definitely, one of my pictures I kind of almost, I'm not trying to knock it, but it looks like one of the things I did kind of, one of them. But I said the guy looks, first one, if you heard me, I was like, it looks like someone is younger but older at the same time. I couldn't like place up like, oh, like younger but older. You know what I'm saying? 22, but it's like, so that's one picture. So hold on. So here's another picture. So and this one, oh my gosh, I think he's like, let's look at this one. Look at this picture. So here's another one right here. Wow, I wonder what the motive was for Tyler. 22 years old, $600,000 house, is we um what do y'all think? So yeah, definitely someone that would blend in on a college campus. So I definitely agree with that assessment that this was someone that could blend in, right? So let's see what else I have here. Hold on. So he told his father, and his father, secured him because obviously he probably obviously wants his son to be taken in without being harmed. Robinson was a student at Utah Valley University. Insiders confirmed to Daily Mail. And then everyone knows the shirt that was released of him. Trump announced the arrest in an appearance on Fox News where he said that someone very close to the suspect turned him in. So he confessed to his own father about it, who is with law enforcement, a veteran of law enforcement. Robinson's arrest comes after a manhunt for the suspect stretched to over a day and a half. So this person, his father is a veteran of law enforcement, so he probably got his, shooting skills from his dad, most likely. Who knows? But yeah, I definitely expected someone older, definitely someone with, I really don't consider it a lucky shot. So I'm curious to know about that aspect. And Robinson's arrest comes after a manhunt for the suspect stretched to over a day and a half, with officials previously offering a reward of $100,000 for information leading to his capture. Surveillance footage had been released showing a figure on top of a roof, leaping from a building and sprinting into a neighborhood after Kirk was shot from around 200 yards away. The alleged killer was found after multiple suspects were incorrectly apprehended, including George Zinn, on Tuesday. Initially, a person of interest was said to be in custody in connection with Kirk's shooting, and Utah Governor Spencer Cox announced Wednesday evening. However, they were later released. FBI Director Kash Patel confirmed the suspect in custody has been released after an interrogation by law enforcement. Patel said in a statement, this is the previous arrest, right? Our investigation continues, and we will continue to release information in interest of transparency. The conservative commentator was hit by a single bullet while speaking to a crowd at the public university in Orem on Wednesday afternoon. The father of two, known for his fierce MAGA views and thrilling debates with college kids across the country, collapsed immediately after being hit by the gunfire. So here's another picture of Tyler with his father. The alleged killer confessed to his father, who is a 27-year veteran of the Washington County Sheriff's Department. So I'm telling you, that probably will explain that his father probably takes him to the firing range or gun range, So here is a picture of Tyler with his father. Now, a father having to turn his son in. Like, the father probably heard about this, of course. Veteran heard about this, wondering who could it be. And then to have his son come and be like, Dad, I'm the one that actually committed this crime. And then for the father, a veteran of the sheriff's department, to have to turn his son in. Now, y'all know there's $100,000 reward. So, people are probably out there like, oh, he wanted that reward. No, I think that his father, as a veteran of the sheriff's department, and he probably just wanted to, just do the right thing and just have his son turned in. So, that's going to bring up a lot of questioning as well. People are going to be like, would you have turned your son in, or what would you have done, or how would you have handled it? Yeah, so what do you think about that? So let's see what's happening with this press conference. Just a second. Okay, so looks like we're waiting for the press conference to start, where they're going to talk about this investigation. So yeah, so while they're doing that, so we're still waiting. Hold on. Yeah, I'm going to be going over some articles while we're waiting for the press conference to start. And by the way, keep in mind that my channel is not a conspiracy channel, so I don't go by certain things. So I know in the video where Charlie Kirk is on a live, one of the videos of people that is floating around is glitchy, and by glitchy, the video is poor quality. If you ever record a video with a camera that's low quality, it will be glitchy and a mess. Okay, so that's what's happening with that video. There's no hoax, there's no conspiracy. He actually is on a live. It's not a hoax. So my channel is not the channel for when people have really lost someone and it's a real death and the person is no longer here. So yes, Charlie Kirk is no longer here. It's not a hoax. Okay, so my channel is not for that. And I understand the video where it seems like his rain moves from this and that. That's due to a poor, low quality, poor camera. Okay, I would suggest probably looking at different videos with higher quality, and then you'll see that it's more regular and how things are. Okay, I've actually posted a video from the side angle, which is more it was more clear and with more clarity. So I understand people, things like that, but I'm just saying, my channel is not conspiracy based. Okay, now if something is a fake or fraud or a scam or a grift, I am definitely someone that will point it out with evidence and with receipts. But in this case, this is not a hoax or conspiracy. Okay, and you have to also be careful because YouTube will penalize your channel if you actually go too far into conspiracies for real life events. Okay, so please be careful in my chat with those types of comments. Okay, he told his father what he has done, and his father made sure that he turned himself in safely. Okay, so let me see what else I can find. Just a second while we're still waiting. Again, if you're just getting here, we're waiting for them to start the press conference. But in the meanwhile, I'm just discussing Tyler Robinson, 22 from Utah, is their new person that they have arrested. And when I say new person, y'all know exactly what I mean. This will be the third person that they've had in custody, but this time it's more solid because they have a confession. Okay, hold on just a second. So yeah, I'm just showing different pictures that have been posted of Tyler Robinson of 22 of Utah, and we're waiting for the conference right now. Should be starting shortly. They are on lateness. They are late, but hold on.
Check 1 2, mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Mic 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Check 1 2 1 2 3 4.
Authorities have the suspect who fatally shot Charlie Kirk, a conservative activist and a close political ally of President Donald Trump, in custody. The president said early Friday, "We have him," Trump said in an interview on Fox and Friends. Trump said with a high degree of certainty, law enforcement has the suspect in the Kirk killing in custody. Essentially, somebody that was very close to him turned him in, Trump said. The news caps a frantic search of the authorities as recently as Thursday evening said they had no idea where the suspect might be. In a plea to the public for help, authorities released new footage and enhanced still images of the suspected shooter, who has not yet been identified. That person has been identified now as Tyler Robinson, 22 of Utah. Trump will attend Kirk's funeral in Phoenix, Arizona, he said on Fox. Okay, so again, this is the photo of the suspect. Well, right here. Okay, let's see what the New York Times has to say about it. And again, they are seeking the death penalty for, once anyone is found guilty of this, they are seeking the death penalty for this assassination. Again, suspect in Charlie Kirk assassination identified as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. Federal and state law enforcement officials have confirmed the arrest of Tyler Robinson, 22, in connection with the fatal shooting of conservative activist and Turning Point USA co-founder Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University on Wednesday. Robinson was taken into custody late Thursday night near St. George, Utah, approximately 250 miles southwest of the UVU campus where Kirk was unalived. According to investigators, Robinson allegedly confessed to his father that he was responsible for the shooting. His father immediately contacted authorities, secured his son, and waited until law enforcement arrived to take him into custody. The arrest reportedly occurred around 11 p.m. local time. At a press conference Thursday night, officials confirmed that Robinson will face capital charges and could face the death penalty if convicted. Law enforcement sources report that it was a caliber 30-06 caliber bolt action rifle was recovered in a wooded area near the UVU campus. The weapon was wrapped in a towel, and forensic teams discovered a spent cartridge in the chamber alongside 3 live rounds in the magazine. Notably, investigators said the cartridges were engraved with phrases referencing transgender and other ideologies. And it says also the rifle and ammunition are now in FBI custody for DNA and fingerprint analysis. I'm interested to hear more about this alleged rifle because there is conflicting stories regarding the rifle. Okay. Okay, let's see about this press conference. So we're waiting for the press conference to start. They haven't started yet. We're still waiting. And at the press conference, obviously, they'll tell us more about this arrest and what happened. Okay, so that's what we're waiting for. Just a second. It looks like they're going to be starting soon.
Hello, hello, testing, testing. Hi, everyone. We are 4 minutes out from starting the press conference. Thank you.
So they will be starting in 4 minutes. You heard it. Hold on. Shout out to Donna Rabbit Hole News. Says double tap for the like button for vertical. Yes, double tap, double tap. This is I'm trying something new. Um, so yeah, hit the like button, hit the like button, and also make sure y'all subscribe to my girl's channel, Donna Rabbit Hole News. Subscribe, 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 and happy anniversary, almost 4 years. I appreciate it, girl. And make sure y'all subscribe to Donna Rabbit Hole News. So President Trump announced early Friday that a suspect for Charlie Kirk's assassination was, turned in by someone close to him, which we now know is his father. Okay. And the press conference should be starting in about 3 minutes. So we will hear more about this case.
Custody, right? In custody, everyone did a great job. We worked with the local, just all, and so Fox doesn't get sued, and we all don't get sued, and everything else. But I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody, right? In custody, everyone did a great job. We worked with the local police, the governor, everybody did a great job.
So yes, they do have him because there's a confession. And now, there are some times where people confess and they actually have not done something, but in this case, we have to go with that. There is a confession, okay? So let's see. Somebody who was very close to him turned him in, the president said. Then revealing it was the suspect's dad who related through a minister who was involved with law enforcement. So the suspect's dad who related through a minister who was involved with law enforcement. So it looks like the suspect's dad reached out to a minister, and then that person related to law enforcement, as you know. Let's go back and see if there's a conference is starting or not. So let's look at some more photos of, Charlie Kirk while they're preparing. These websites these days have like a million ads just popping up. Okay. The alleged killer confessed for his father, Matt, who was a 27-year veteran, okay? And then it looks like the father then relayed talked to a minister, and that minister relayed the information to law enforcement. But keeps on saying also in some articles that his father then contacted authorities and secured his son before he could be taken into custody. And then in another article, it mentions the actual a minister being spoken to as well. It's possible that both the minister and the actual cops could have reached out, and the actual father. But yeah, it says the alleged killer confessed to his father, Matt, who is a 27-year veteran of the Washington County Sheriff's Department. Sources told Daily Mail. His father then contacted authorities and secured his son before he could be taken into custody. And then another article says the father contacted a minister who then relayed the information. And he was taken into custody Thursday around 11 p.m. In Utah time. His mother is Amber Robinson, who works for Intermountain Support Coordination Services, a company contracted by the state of Utah to help disabled people receive care. Was a student at Utah State University on a scholarship. Insiders confirmed. The family social media profile show Robinson, who has 2 younger brothers, often enjoying family vacations and sharing smiling selfies, including one of his mother celebrating her genius son getting into college. Robinson was taken into custody around 11 p.m. local time in southern Utah on Thursday night. He lives in a $600,000 6-bedroom home in Washington, Utah, about 260 miles south of Kirk's assassination in Orem. Officials have yet to confirm a motive to the assassination. Authorities said at a press conference on Thursday night that Robinson will face the death penalty if convicted. Again, here's one photo of him right here. There's another photo. And obviously they have another photo, but they blurred out. Thankfully, they blurred out his brothers, siblings that are possibly still minors. And they did leave the mother though, and his father. And I posted a picture earlier of his father and him as well. Looks like they were eating out somewhere. So that's a picture of him with his family. So you can only imagine how the mother and father are probably like, they have this son, they're proud of him, college student, scholarship, a lot going, a future ahead. And then what happened? What has happened now for him to now, go this route? What was the actual motivation? So let's get into a little bit more of Tyler. So, in one image from Robinson's mother's social media from 2017, he was seen wearing a Donald Trump costume to Halloween. Other images also show Robinson using guns in his childhood, including one where he was posing with an M2 Browning 50 caliber machine gun. I figured that, the father has probably been taking him to the fire ranges and things, gun range. Trump announced the arrest in an appearance on Fox News where he said that someone very close to the suspect turned him in. Robinson's arrest comes after a manhunt for the suspect stretched to over a day and a half, with officials previously offering a reward of $100,000 for information leading to his capture. Surveillance footage has been released showing a figure. Hold on. So let me actually finish this article real quickly, okay? While they're doing an introduction. Surveillance footage. Okay, so Trump announced the arrest and appearance on Fox News, where he said that someone very close to the suspect turned him in. Robinson's arrest comes after a manhunt, but the suspect stretched to over a day and a half, with officials previously offering a reward of $100,000 for information leading to his capture. And hold on. So I actually wanted to go to his social media myself, and I want to show y'all this picture. So this picture right here. So I guess this is Halloween for Trump. So what do you think, like wearing his like Trump as a Halloween costume? So in one image from Robinson's mother's social media from 2017, he was seen wearing a Donald Trump costume to Halloween. This is him right here. So yeah, this explains why someone 22 has experience with weapons. Okay. Other images also show Robinson using guns in his childhood, including one where he was posing with an M2 Browning 50 caliber machine gun. Yeah, this explains it, y'all. I knew it had to be someone that has been using guns for a while. Now, to be honest, I expected it to be some sort of someone that had been in the military or served for a long time. But if this person has been using guns since they were a child, they definitely have had a lot of experience. Experience matters more than just age. Okay. This is him with his father. The alleged killer confessed to his father, who was a 27-year veteran of the Washington County Sheriff's Department, sources told Daily Mail. That's his mother, Amber Robinson, works for Intermountain Support Coordination Services, a company contracted by the state of Utah to help disabled people receive care. The family social media profiles show Robinson often enjoying family vacations and sharing smiling selfies. Now, what I want to just say again is that this person with access to guns and, someone that has been practicing with guns for a long time, this could have been like a mass school shooting. However, for some reason, he's targeting, wearing Donald Trump as a Halloween costume. He's targeting Charlie Kirk, but Charlie Kirk, we will see more. Okay, the alleged killer was found after multiple suspects were incorrectly apprehended on Tuesday. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the press conference. I just wanted y'all to see those photos and get a little background. Let's go ahead and get into the press conference.
Sheriff Mike Smith. We also have with us Utah DPS Commissioner Bo Mason, Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, FBI Special Agent in Charge Robert Bowles, and local and federal law enforcement partners. Following the remarks today, Governor Cox, Director Patel, and Commissioner Mason will take questions. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th And in the conversation with another family member, Robertson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robertson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robertson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robertson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robertson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robertson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. I know there has been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices, bulges, capital OWO, what's this, question mark." Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO." We are indebted to law enforcement across the state who's worked seamlessly together, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and our federal partners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're grateful for everyone who worked together in such a short amount of time to find this person and to bring justice. I want to thank the public who has been so engaged, reviewing videos, helping us with sending in tips, and
another thing is, how in the world did that get leaked? So that internal thing that I was even sent myself, how did that get leaked out of here from ATF, from internal records of the team? People be leaking stuff, it's crazy, and that's what made me doubt it. I'm like, why is this even leaked? It's weird, okay? But now they're saying that stuff was actually engraved, but you still have to be cautious because there's always a lot of times like fake stuff circulating.
Helping us get to this point. I want to thank the family members of Tyler Robertson who did the right thing in this case and were able to bring him into to law enforcement as well. So
would you ask the father of Tyler Robertson, college student, things like that, scholarship, if your child came to you and said, "Hey, I unalived someone, this high profile case, Charlie Kirk,"
would you have turned your child in? I'm going to put up a poll.
Actually want to thank the family of Charlie Kirk, Erica, Charlie's parents, his children. I want us to be thinking of them as we bring justice in this case. They will be involved in that justice. We will be working very closely with them as we move through this process as well. This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah, but I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history. With that, I will now turn the microphone over to the Director of the FBI, Kash Patel.
Thank you, Governor. This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams. We also utilized these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then, shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m. where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent, and we're committed to that transparency. The crime scene, just a little bit there. It is a large crime scene. State and local authorities, along with federal authorities, processed that crime scene quickly. And I even had the ability to walk through that crime scene and walk through the steps the suspect took to learn more about what was needed and what resources we needed to bear to create a full picture for the FBI and leadership back in Washington. Furthermore, thankfully to state and local partners, forensic evidence has been seized and continues to be garnered. Forensic evidence has already been evaluated at FBI laboratories in Quantico and state and local authorities here. We will continue to process evidence as we see it, as we collect it, and we will continue to deliver to Governor Cox and his team. Last night, we had a total of approximately 7,000 leads. As of this morning, thanks to your great work, we have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. And we are running out every single lead that we can. every one of those leads will be run out. The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great, and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. The FBI Salt Lake field office, along with our offices in LA, Phoenix, Denver, San Antonio, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, our headquarters component in Quantico, all participate in the FBI. I want to express my deep gratitude to the employees of the FBI, the men and women, the evidence response team tacticians, the special operators, the agents, the support staff. You have done monumental work in historic time when the public, who had a right to demand such an expeditious solving of an investigation, the FBI answered that call diligently, critically important to our nation, and we delivered. And I'm proud to be their leader, and I'm proud to be the director of the FBI. This is a very much an ongoing investigation, as the governor said, and we will continue to work with state and local authorities to develop the investigation, to provide them the evidence they need for their ongoing prosecutions. And we will be here to answer every call they absolutely have, as long as it takes, for as long as we need to find and apprehend whatever suspects were involved in this crime. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Thank you, and good morning. I would just like to take a few minutes as the sheriff to express my gratitude for everybody who has played a part in this investigation. As you know, it's been a vast, a complicated, and a very, very fast-paced investigation. You're looking at people standing up here who are running on, if they got an hour's sleep in the last couple of days, they're probably lucky. It has been very taxing. It has been so impressive, speaking on behalf of the local law enforcement, to see the cooperation that we've seen in this type of case. Across the state, sheriffs, chiefs, our state partners have stepped up and have come to the call on anything that we needed. Our county chiefs have been phenomenal. Our Utah County Attorney, Jeff Gray, who's standing up here with us, has been phenomenal in leading us through this investigation. I would like to thank the federal government for their resources, their assets. Our local team here, our FBI team, has been extraordinary in helping us work through this and bring this person to justice. Most of all, I would like to thank the public, and specifically, I would like to thank the public who turned to prayers and who turned to positiveness for us. I would like to thank them on behalf of the law enforcement community, because we needed those prayers. That's what we needed to get through this. We needed your support, and you gave it to us. We needed your patience, and you gave it to us. And I would like to thank you for the Kirk family, because that's what they need, is your support and your prayers, and that will get us through all of this. So thank you, everybody, for everybody that have stepped up. We've had such a phenomenal response to this. Thank you.
I also want to give a special thanks to the Attorney General and the Department of Justice. Their unwavering support and their commitment to justice is shown true here. And without AG Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the resources they brought to bear, we would not have been able to complete our mission. And I just want to say special thanks. It's an honor to be a part of the Department of Justice.
Thank you again to our incredible law enforcement team who has worked so hard. Sheriff, I got a solid 90 minutes last night, so I'm probably the most well-rested person up here.
Shout out to Judy Coles. Thank you so much for the gifted membership. Again, shout out to Judy Coles. I appreciate you for gifting a membership. If you're gifted a membership from Judy, please say thank you for the gifted membership. Also, shout out to Darcy. Thank you so much for the Cash App. Again, shout out to Darcy. I appreciate the Cash App. And everybody else, remember, support my channel for free just by hitting the like button. And make sure to stick around after, because we definitely will be going over some photos of Tyler Robinson from social media. So stay tuned. Hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, I get the microphone, so I hope you'll permit me a moment just to share a few more thoughts about where we are and how we got here, and maybe a little bit of where we go from here. I don't want to get too preachy, but I think it's important that we, with eyes wide open, understand what's happening in our country today. I've heard people say, well, why are we so invested in this? There's violence happening all across our country, and violence is tragic everywhere, and every life taken is a child of God who deserves our love and respect and dignity. This is certainly about the tragic death, political assassination of Charlie Kirk. But it is also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals. This cuts to the very foundation of who we are, of who we have been, and who we could be in better times. Political violence is different than any other type of violence for lots of different reasons. One, because in the very act that Charlie championed of expression, that freedom of expression that is enshrined in our founding documents, in having his life taken in that very act, makes it more difficult for people to feel like they can share their ideas, that they can speak freely. We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely. Especially those ideas with which you disagree. That's why this matters so much. Over the last 48 hours, I have been as angry as I have ever been, as sad as I have ever been. And it was, as anger pushed me to the brink, it was actually Charlie's words that pulled me back. I'd like to share some of those. And specifically right now, if I could, I need to talk to the young people in our state, in my state, and all across the country. As President Trump reminded me, he said, you know who really loved Charlie? The youths. And he's right. Young people loved Charlie, and young people hated Charlie. And Charlie went into those places anyway. And these are the words that have helped me. Charlie said, when people stop talking, that's when you get violence. He said, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. The only way out of the labyrinth of suffering is to forgive. Welcome without judgment, love without condition, forgive without limit. He said, always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. A few months ago, I referenced this last night, Charlie posted to social media, when things are moving very fast and people are losing their minds, it's important to stay grounded. Turn off your phone, read scripture, spend time with friends, and remember, internet fury is not real life. It's going to be okay. He again said, when you stop having a human connection with someone you disagree with, it becomes a lot easier to commit violence. He said, what we as a culture have to get back to is being able to have a reasonable agreement, where violence is not an option. Now, again, to my young friends out there, you are inheriting a country where politics feels like rage. It feels like rage is the only option. But through those words, we have a reminder that we can choose a different path. Your generation has an opportunity to build a culture that is very different than what we are suffering through right now. Not by pretending differences don't matter, but by embracing our differences and having those hard conversations. I think we need more moral clarity right now. I hear all the time that words are violence. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And there is one person responsible for what happened here. And that person is now in custody and will be charged soon and will be held accountable. And yet all of us have an opportunity right now to do something different. I want to thank my fellow Utahns. This bad stuff happens. For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us, that somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered.
Oh my gosh, is he really saying this? That he was praying that it would not be one of them? Yeah, we know what that means. You are hoping it would not be someone white, male, Utah, anything anything close to being you. So I kind of figured people would be hurt. Like, this has to be devastating because a 22-year-old white male from, not like super wealthy, but has, not, real poor, it's like poor, and he has a scholarship, he's a student, he's white, he's male, completely not what they would want as the actual suspect. Because this, and then on top of that, this person is like, going to the gun range, has the guns, going to the firing range. To be honest, this is the total opposite of what they probably were hoping for an actual suspect. This is in the face of someone, this is like to them someone that they would want, not as the face of the killer or unaliver of Charlie Kirk. And that's the whole irony of this situation. It's not a foreigner, it's not a minority, it's not a terrorist. Well, you could consider him a domestic terrorist or assassinator. However, I kind of figure, if y'all watched my video from yesterday, which I know I have been, it's a lot of videos, I kind of figured that people would be disappointed in the actual culprit and how he looks and who he is.
Way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here.
Yeah, make it easier on y'all. Y'all, if you were here in my last video, I said I was wondering how people are going to react now that the unaliver is a white male with the United States flag, born white male and white on white, and how they would actually respond. And now I'm seeing, I kind of figured they were disappointed, because y'all know that if it were someone foreign, Arab, Indian, Black, another race, they definitely would be going in. And also, for everyone saying transgender, none of these pictures are giving me that, but we don't know if this person is in the community or not in the community. But that could have also been a distraction. So we will see what the whole motive is. But I do know that the environment and climate was that there were petitions already put up that they did not want Kirk to go to that school. We do see a picture of Tyler Robertson wearing a Donald Trump Halloween costume. So he could be anti-Trump. We have to see what I wonder what the families, people are going to be looking at the family, his mother Matt, his father Matt, his mother's political affiliation. They're definitely going to be looking at it, and that they're Democrats are definitely going to be like, oh, the soldiers, a Democratic family.
And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here, and it was one of us. But I want you to look at how Utahns reacted the last 2 nights. There was no rioting, there was no looting, there were no cars set on fire, there was no violence. There were vigils and prayers and people coming together to share the humanity. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is the answer to this. We can return violence with violence. We can return hate with hate. And that's the problem with political violence, is it metastasizes, because we can always point the finger at the other side. And at some point we have to find an off-ramp, or it's going to get much, much worse. But see, these are choices that we can make. History will dictate if this is a turning point for our country. But every single one of us gets to choose right now if this is a turning point for us. We get to make decisions. We have our agency. And I desperately call on every American, Republican, Democrat, liberal, progressive, conservative, MAGA, all of us to please, please, please follow what Charlie taught me. I'll just conclude with words I share often from a friend and author, Yuval Levin, who was asked if he was optimistic about our country. And he said, I'm not optimistic. He said, I hate optimism. God, that sounds bad. But he said, optimism is a vice. It's this idea that good things are just going to happen. And he said, in the history of the world, good things have never just happened. He says, I'm not optimistic, but I am hopeful. And hope is the virtue that sits between the vices of optimism and pessimism. Hope is the idea that good things are going to happen because we can make them so. I still believe in our country. And I know Charlie Kirk believed in our country. I still believe that there is more good among us than evil. And I still believe that we can change the course of history. I'm hopeful because Americans can make it so. Ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
So, with that being said, this is not a typical 22-year-old. This is someone that is the son of a 27-year veteran of a sheriff's department who goes to gun events, has experience and knowledge of weapons. So this is not a typical 22-year-old. So if you take into account his years of experience with firearms since he was a small child, this is someone that will have just as much experience as someone that has been in the Army or other things. They go to gun events. So it could be hard to like, oh, well, a typical 22-year-old that never has been around a gun or weapon or only went to a fire and gun range maybe once or twice, compared to someone who obviously they lived and breathed these events or gun places. So this is someone with experience. So yeah. So no, I believe that he actually did it and he has experience because he has been doing this since a child. there are a lot of people that do things since they are a child, and they gain a lot of experience since they started as a child with that. Now, if he was 22 and he never had any experience with guns, then I would say no. But this person, yeah, definitely, just by looking at his social media pictures.
I cannot speak to that. Well, I will leave that up to you to interpret what those engravings mean. I think the clearest one that says "catch fascist," there's not. And by the way, that's like catch like a ball, catch this. That's I think that speaks for itself. There's nothing more that we can share at this time. We do not at this time have any information that would lead to any additional arrests. Yes, but the investigation is ongoing. Yes, so right now, Mr. Robertson has been booked into the Utah County Jail. You heard the president this morning report that he was taken into custody, that his family and a friend helped to deliver him into custody of law enforcement in Washington County. For those of you that don't know where Washington County is, it is the southwesternmost part of the state of Utah. It's about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive from here, where we are right now, and that's where he lived and where they turned him in. Please, I'll go here. I can't share any more than what I've already shared. Yeah. So how we obtained the gun was found here. So I don't have much more details on that. We do know that he drove. We had his car here on campus, and then we had his car going south back to the St. George. It's actually the city of Washington in Washington County. I'm sorry? We don't have any information that would lead us to believe that. Yes, in fact, it was just released. Yes. I can't answer that right now. Yeah, thank you. Over here. I absolutely believe that this is a watershed in American history. Yes. The question is, what kind of watershed? And that chapter remains to be written. Is this the end of a dark chapter in our history, or the beginning of a darker chapter in our history? Look, I mean, if you look at true political assassinations in this country of someone of this stature, this feels a lot like the late 60s. And having one so gruesomely displayed on camera in all of our hands and in all of our pockets. We are not wired as human beings biologically, historically. We have not evolved in a way that we are capable of processing those types of violent imagery. And by the way, we've seen another one with a gruesome stabbing very recently that went viral. This is not good for us. It is not good to consume. Social media is a cancer on our society right now. And I would encourage people to log off, turn off, touch grass, hug a family member, go out and do good in your community. That is happening, and it's happening organically right now. I had a friend in a small city in Utah who said, we're getting together.
Yeah, so yeah, the whole comment about we didn't riot, yeah, we can really catch on to what they're trying to insinuate or imply, definitely. So Amber is actually coming back as Republican. Now people could change things, but for the mother showing Republican. There are sometimes, you know, where parents could be Republican and then their kids, especially once they go out to college or experience college life to where they can change political affiliations. And we don't really know the motive of why he has done this yet. He has to talk and say the reason as to why he committed this crime. Let's see here. So I don't know what the father is, but I see the mother showing as Republican because, you know, if the mother and father were to show up as Democrats, then they would be like, oh my gosh, it's Democrats. Y'all, the irony of this situation, if it turns out, if the parents are actually Republican and then it turns out, then they can't use that. But then obviously, then they'll say, well, the kid is whatever the kid is. So we will have to see what his political affiliation is. But you know, as soon as if they find out that he's anything besides Republican, they're gonna definitely hammer in on that because they're definitely looking for a way to make him different, like a us versus them situation or other him by saying that he has a different political affiliation or something about him. So once they find that, they are going to drive it home, okay?
The Republicans and Democrats in my little town are getting together to have a discussion tonight, last night, just to find a way to find their better angels. So yes, this could be. I mean, you know, again, you have to go back to JFK to have seen a video live of something like this happening. I wasn't born until 1975, but I know that things were really dark in the late 60s. Sorry to some of you. I know some of you were there, but this is our moment. Do we escalate or do we find an off ramp? And again, it's a choice. It's a choice, and every one of us gets to make that choice. Two more questions right here. I cannot comment if there is a direct connection or not, but all I can say is that that through some process, the family came to know that this had happened. Correct. Yes. So when he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested, the clothing matched the clothing he had on before the shooting here at UVU. Last question here. Yes. Yeah. So I don't have any information on the mental illness part. He was not a student here at UVU. He was living and had lived for a long time with his family in Washington County, in the southernmost part of our state. Thank you, everyone, for your great work in getting this information out. I just say, process-wise, this may be important. I know many of you aren't familiar with the process in Utah. I think it's important that you understand that. Basically, we have 3 days for charging documents to be filed. A CI will be filed. We'll have more information then, more detailed information as those charging documents are filed in preparation for a preliminary hearing. So 3 days. So we would anticipate then that early next week those charging documents will be filed. We will obviously be working. The county attorney will be working very, very closely with Mr. Kirk's family as those documents and decisions are prepared and made. Thanks, everyone.
So let's actually, I guess that's the end of the press conference. Um, I think that they spend most of the time just pretty much trying to brag about how fast the investigation went or how the investigation went, and less time talking about the actual suspects, which most people probably wanted to hear more about the actual suspect than more than just the investigation of them, you know. So with that being said, this kid, 22-year-old, because I consider this a jet, okay, goes to gun events and events. Definitely someone that is familiar with weapons, which we would expect that what we're looking for. I think most people were thinking of someone former military, older, someone with experience, someone that is like a sniper, you know, assassin, like someone with a lot of experience. But we have to remember what is considered experience, especially if you have someone that has been a father that's a 27-year-old veteran of the sheriff's department, someone that has goes to these gun events, someone that has a lot of practice. There are a lot of people that are in the Olympics, certain fields or sports, and they have been doing it since they were a child. So those people actually are really qualified without actually having like former law enforcement or former military, especially when they're trained by trained by certain people that do have those experiences. So that's why he has that. So it's not like some little 22-year-old with no training or no experience or no background. He has it. And with different types of weapons, how to carry these weapons, how to hold these weapons, how to clean these weapons, how to fire these weapons. He has the training. Okay. How to load, okay, and how to disarm. He has all the experience. And then this photo right here, you can see that he's wearing those shoes right here, and it's the same shoes. This looks like more like a college dorm because of the bed is propped up high and sitting up high or something. But it's pretty much the same shoes. He wears these, he likes to wear hats. Definitely someone that I felt like had acne, because even though they had these pictures, they tried to fix the pictures up because they were like poor quality. I could tell that there was some sort of acne or something surrounding the face. I didn't really think it was hair, but I was thinking more like acne, and that was kind of accurate. So the shoes right there, match. And then we also have I showed y'all that one. So going to these gun events or these places and holding different weapons, people are teaching him how to hold the weapon. Like put it right here on top of your shoulder, hold it right here with the palm of your hand. He definitely has, you know, with different types of weapons. And also, I will say this, I hate to say it, but it's true. People have to understand that if you teach someone about guns, especially since they are a child or even throughout their life, some people become trigger happy. I hate to say it, but people become trigger happy to where they actually want to use the weapon for something, for, you know, best for hunting, obviously something legal. But there are people that become trigger happy to where they be like, oh, I wish that I could be a hero in a situation, or I could come across a situation where I need the gun and I will be able to use it. Their hands get really trigger happy, like years of experience going to the gun range, firing range. Like, I wish someone would run up on me or come up on me or try to burglarize a home or come here or do this or do that. So you can actually use the weapon and it is a such thing as trigger happy. People actually, want to be able to use their weapon. And so with someone like him, these events where he goes to people, everyone is teaching him how to use that weapon, how to use this weapon, and different types of weapons. He's getting this experience and practice. And even his brothers, like his siblings, they are also at an early age. So you look at his brothers and you can also see them with these same types of weapons and how they are also being taught. Okay. So when they get his age into their 20s, they are also going to be experienced. So look at it from that viewpoint and that standpoint. That even his younger siblings are being taught to use weapons. And I mean, I don't want to turn it into a negative, because learning how to shoot and knowing how to defend yourself and protect yourself is not a negative. However, with that experience, you have to understand that it's not going to be unusual for a 22-year-old that has been using a gun and knowing how to use weapons since a child to actually know how to be a sniper by the time they're 22, because they're trained. So what people wouldn't expect is someone went to college, has a scholarship, has things going for them, to unalive Charlie Kirk. So what happened? They said that he was not a student at this college, but I guess he was. They didn't say if he was a current student at another college or not. They did say that he was at one point. And the mother did share a picture that she was proud of her son. Where's that picture? I have to go back to this post, but it says, congratulations, Tyler Robinson, 4.0 GPA, PBMS, Pineview Middle School. So this was a middle school picture where he had a 4.0. So I could see him, Tyler Robinson, since, he also, when he got to high school, he actually had a scholarship to college. So this is someone that the parents probably were proud of. Probably was like all around good student as far as they are concerned. 4.0 GPA, middle school, graduates from high school, has a scholarship, goes to college. Not who you would suspect, but that is usually the case. The people you least suspect will be the actual culprit. He definitely, I wanted to bring attention to the glasses on top of his head. So he likes to wear these baseball caps and even these glasses. And if you recall, I can bring up the pictures from that FBI posting from Salt Lake City. Where is it? He had on a baseball cap and also shades. So he's keeping to his same clothing. Right? Hold on, let me bring it back up. So initially when they posted this, right here, he has the baseball cap and he has the shades. And this is not the only picture, by the way. So yeah, and then let's go to the next one. So now he has threw his whole life away, forever to be known as the unaliver of Charlie Kirk. And this is like 22 years old, whole life ahead of you. Definitely smart based on, having a scholarship to college, smart since even middle school was 4.0. A lot, right? So what happened? What happened, and what is the actual motive? That's the question people are asking. What is the motive? It looks like his mother is coming back, that she's a Republican. I don't know about the father of what he's coming back as. But yes, people were talking about the costume that he wore as Donald Trump. I had to scratch out his brother because his brother's in this picture, so I blurred while I scratched out the face. Give me a second. So at one point, this is, you can see like even the brother is like he's dressed up in some gear as if he has a weapon, right? So even the brother is being trained as far as when it comes to weapons and things like that. So yes, he did actually have this Donald Trump costume, it looks like. Or something going out. Child, that's a weird costume. Okay, right there. And this looks more like the second round of pictures that were released. Even the one that I did, like a mock picture or a depiction of what I thought one would be. And let's go back here. So right here is him like at this school where he unalived Charlie Kirk. And he's wearing that baseball cap. And you can see the same shoes right there that's in that picture of him in his room. Those same shoes. And then right here, you can definitely see the shoes right here on his feet. And then going back, that's the same photo. So again, this is the same right photo from the FBI page. And then you can see the shoes right there. So definitely a match to those shoes. There's a lot of photos on the actual social media page, so I'm not going to go through all the pictures, but I pretty much want to give you a little glimpse into Tyler that it explains the gun. So I definitely wanted to look at the gun photos. Hold on. Also, I don't know if I have a mod here, but please, I need like 5 more people to sign my petition, please. I think the mother has hid her social media now. She should have been put it on private. So I think the mother she took it down now. Y'all listen, right now as I speak, that social media page went down. And something told me I should hurry up and screen record the whole page. It's down now. It's down. Like I'm literally looking at the picture. I click on it and then it's gone. That sucks. But I mean, she also has other kids, so she's trying to probably protect it because not everybody is going to be blurring out the minors' faces. Like it took me time because I was actually trying to scratch out the face of the minor. But yeah, I'm still on the page. But now, as soon as I click off the picture, it goes to burn. So what she's realizing is that people are on there taking the pictures off her page. So she deactivated or whatever she did. Okay, hold on. I will say this. Before she put it on, deactivated it, people were leaving a lot of comments. There are a lot of comments about killer, like pretty much calling him a killer and calling him all sorts of names. And yeah, that's another thing. That's what I was mentioning earlier. But the thing is, it's kind of too late because most pictures are taken down, especially the ones with the guns. Hold on. Now, there are times where the parents are Republican and then the kid turns out to have a non-party or a different party. But I will say people are going to focus on the political affiliation of the parents and also Tyler. They're going to be asking what he is. And what they're looking for is obviously, if he's Republican, then you're not going to really hear a lot of chit-chat and chatter. But I guarantee you, if he turns out to be a Democrat or another party affiliation, they're going to target. They're definitely going to be a lot of chit chat because they want that that something to point out in him that they can, like, you know, go off of as to a possible motive, right? But yeah, the other people are posting a picture, but I'm not gonna post it. That his brothers are also can be seen with a lot of weapons, so you can tell that from a young age, all the kids are being taught how to use these weapons, and they have a lot of they're seen with a lot of weapons. Okay, so that explains why he has so much experience. Is that his real mugshot? Did someone make that? But yeah, people were saying he's a transgender. That's why I was telling someone in my chat last night. I'm like, please don't put that in my chat. That's not that. They were posting this transgender person named Valadez. I'm like, that's not the person. Please don't bring that to my chat. And look, I was right. That's not the person.
Transpired here these last 72 hours.
Von Hilliard, thank you, everyone. Please stay close. And joining us now is criminologist Casey Jordan. Casey, so much happening so quickly here this morning. We're learning as well from our own reporting that there's no indication of a prior criminal record. This is according to searches of state national public records associated with the person, Tyler Robinson, and his date of birth. One of the most striking details that we learned from this press conference were, again, about those bullet casings and the inscriptions, "Hey, fascist," the words Bella Ciao, the words, "If you read this, you are gay." What do you see as the significance or what the message is that he's trying to communicate here?
Really, I would need to actually see these words in the way that they are on the bullet casings in the gun to make a proper interpretation. But just knowing what those words are, I'm kind of overwhelmed with how immature it all sounds, and that there is no really chronic.
Immature it all sounds. I mean, he's 22, obviously looks to be sheltered. I would expect maturity. I don't. Yeah, 22 and not shelter, a little bit more, maturity, but 22 and shelter versus 22 and unsheltered are going to be two different things. Okay, so these are showing up as the mugshot. And he definitely is given what I assume to be someone younger, but in certain looks or photos to look older at the same time. Now, Tyler, are you actually going to tell people the motive? Are you going to say the actual motive behind this?
Theme. I think Brandy really nailed it. You have to make of it what you want, because it's like sees bulges. If you're reading this, you're gay. Catch this fascist, or hey fascist, catch. It's like the rantings of a really immature child, and we really need to learn a lot more about what was going on in this accused shooter's life when all of this was happening. Was he in a rabbit hole? Did he have no job? Did he have no purpose? How did he become such a consumer of hate? That his family reports he was talking in with hate speech about his feelings about the victim, just at the family.
And yes, that's a good question. We don't know if the family will get the $100,000. Now, I will say this: sometimes with the tip lines, it's not about you going directly to law enforcement or the police. For those tip lines, usually you have to report it to the tip line. It's crazy, but let's say Crime Stoppers. If Crime Stoppers is offering an award, you cannot just call the police and say, or give them information and the police apprehend the person. You actually have to go through Crime Stoppers and be anonymous and then get the award, reward. So with that being said, this could be a disqualifier if they went straight to the police and instead of going through anonymous tip line. It's crazy, but that usually can happen. So we will see how that works with the reward, but usually you have to go through a tip line or anonymous. You have to go through the process in order to qualify. But yes, we will go over a little bit more, but again, I'm not going to stay on here that long. This is just I wanted to at least give a finale. Since I actually started reporting on this, I like to finish what I start. And that's why I'm giving this okay, well, he has been apprehended, and it's a little bit information. I'm not trying to stay on here for that long, that much longer. But I will go over what I could possibly find out, of course, more about when he was arrested and the roommate with the text messages. And this is going to be an ongoing thing. More stuff is going to come out. What I can expect, or what we can expect, are his friends, associates, acquaintances, former classmates, different people in the neighborhood, people that know him are probably going to come forward and talk about him as far as his character, his personality, how he was as a student, how he was as a friend or relative. People are probably going to be doing interviews about him, and how so we probably will learn more about him through others. Okay.
My dinner the night before. We get the impression he didn't live at home because they talk about the Discord messages with his roommate. But they also confirmed he is not a college student at the university where the crime happened.
Yeah, they did say that. He looks like he has a lot of family, they do a lot of family things together. They go to these gun events together. They go out to eat together. They have matching pajama set stuff going on here. But this is from the outside looking in. Photos are just that, photos. That's Tyler to the far right, obviously the oldest of the bunch. And to be honest, just now I forgot to actually scratch this photo out. My bad. Yeah, that's why I need to get out here. But yeah, so this is an actual family photo. Hold on. And so this is his mug shot that has been released. I mean, he is 22, so he's not a minor, so you can expect that mug shot to be released. And sometimes even minors are released if they are facing adult charges.
So I will be very interested to reconstruct what was going on in his life. Did he have a job? Did he go to school? Was he fired from a job? Did he apply to jobs and he was not, hired? Did he, have just smoldering hate? Mostly my takeaway is that the writings on the gun and on the bullets really emulate everything we just saw a few weeks ago in the Minnesota Catholic school shooting. So I don't think this has been a long-term plan. I think it probably was hatched when this alleged shooter heard that Charlie Kirk was coming to the area, his area, in his backyard at a university that he could easily access, pass as a college student there, go up on the roofs. I mean, I have to tell you, I teach at a university where I see students going up on the roofs all the time. So he had a lot of access to the venue, and he blended, and he knew he would blend. But I do think that this was something that just hatched when he found out that this man that he harbored hate for was coming to his area. And since we just had that school shooting in Minnesota, I think that is probably what inspired it.
It does sound like he was methodical in going to this venue and to not be.
Hold on. Okay, stop bots though. Let's look at what TMZ has to say really quickly. Robinson was partly the man who allegedly shot Charlie Kirk has been identified as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. Robinson was partly turned in by a youth pastor. Tyler had allegedly confessed to the murder to his father, who urged his son to turn himself in. Our sources say Tyler initially refused, but then changed his mind. We are told the father then contacted the youth pastor for assistance, and the pastor called federal authorities. Robinson lives in Utah and has been on the run since Kirk's assassination Wednesday. Robinson's mother posted on her Facebook page that he aced his ACT and had a 4.0 GPA in high school. It was posted in August 2022 when he was a senior.
Okay.
Congratulations, you have been selected to receive the Resident Presidential Scholarship from Utah State University. The value of this scholarship is approximately $32,000. This scholarship is available for 4 years or 8 semesters.
Yeah, wow. The mom also posted a video of her son reading a letter saying he received a $32,000 national scholarship to Utah State University. According to Utah voting records, Robinson is listed as neither a Democrat nor a Republican. He is listed as unaffiliated. What child? So unaffiliated. So he's a non-party affiliation. Unaffiliated. He didn't select one. Now, I'm happy that he did not select one because, as soon as he would have checked Democrat, this whole thing would have been, a Democrat, radical left, the Democratic people, a whole war. So people will try to obviously look at the parents, and I'm showing his mother is showing as Republican. I don't know about the father. I don't really see anything coming up. Okay. I'll have to do more work to get to that one, and I'm not doing it while I'm live because I'm live. The FBI revealed At a news conference Friday morning, Robinson had become radicalized. At a family dinner, Robinson had expressed his dislike for Charlie Kirk. A family member says at the dinner, Tyler claimed Charlie was full of hate. So here it goes. The family members and people are going to be talking in friends right here. At a family dinner, Robinson had expressed his dislike for Charlie Kirk. A family member says at the dinner, Tyler claimed Charlie was full of hate. Now going back to Matthew Dodd, who actually said that a possible motive was the actual hate speech. Right? The possible motive was possible hate speech. Hold on a second. There were inscriptions on the bullet casings engraved, right? Engravements. One of which read Bella Ciao, a reference to the Italian resistance against Nazi fascists. Another casing read, "Hey fascists, catch." When he was captured at his father's house, Robinson was wearing clothing consistent with the ones visible on the person of interest in the campus surveillance video before the shooting. There's a photo, I already read that one already, or talked about that. He was wearing a distinctive sweatshirt and his facial features were clear enough that his dad recognized he was the man on the roof when the single shot rang out. So his father even recognized that was him, obviously. We do not know the circumstances surrounding the capture and whether Robinson put up a fight. So there you have it. The FBI revealed at a news conference Friday morning Robinson had become radicalized. At a family dinner, Robinson had expressed his dislike for Charlie Kirk, a family member says at the dinner. Tyler claimed Charlie was full of hate. So there were inscriptions on the bullet casings, one of which read Bella Ciao, reference to the Italian resistance against Nazi fascists. Another casing read, "Hey fascists, catch." When he was captured at his father's house, so I read that. So what do you think about that, y'all? Social justice already sounds like his motive. I wonder if he walked away saying one less Nazi, but vigilantes want recognition, so I don't think they care about getting caught. Well, it says he really didn't want to turn himself in. And his father also called the youth pastor, and the youth pastor called the authorities. And you know, the authority probably the youth pastor most likely called, and then his father might also eventually call as well. Ron. Well, he didn't lie. Yeah, so sign my petition. So what about now, Matthew Dodd? What about Matthew Dodd now that if this is true about what the suspect said about Charlie Kirk, and that's the actual motive. And that goes to what I was saying, that Matthew Dodd was really talking about the possible motive of what happened. So he should not have gotten fired. And again, I still need more people to sign a petition, so please sign it. I'll get the link in just a second. Okay, hold on. So also that makes also perfect sense as to why he, you know, how he got this building. This is someone that I believe he since he was little, he has been trained as far as doing certain things, highly active, trained in firearms and trained in certain things to where it makes sense. So people are like, oh, this is someone like, you know, it makes sense considering his background and his father's background. Having a father, 27-year-old veteran of the sheriff's department, right? Trained in firearms, going to all these events with like people in the military, people with guns. That's his environment. And also they did say someone that's 22 that could blend in with other college students. He fits the bill. Matching shoes, glasses, body build. It looks like he's close with his family, the mother and father. Hold on.
Thank you, Governor. Bo Mason, Commissioner for the Utah Department of Public Safety. If you look up to the top left, you'll see the building where the shooter was proned out in the top left corner. We'll go ahead and play that video and I'll narrate as we walk through that. So here you see the suspect ran behind that upper building. He's gonna come out on the right, moves to this far right corner. As he does, he's gonna climb off the edge and then drop down to the ground. As he did that, he left some palm impressions. There's some smudges, some places we're looking to collect DNA. There's a shoe imprint where we believe the suspect is clearly identified as wearing Converse tennis shoes. Again, we'll replay that again so you can get another view of that. It's important to note his black t-shirt, his black pants, and there appears to be some white on the soles of those Converse tennis shoes. Those are all identifiable items that we're looking for. In the stills that are going to follow this, you're going to see a very distinctive t-shirt with an American flag and appears to have an eagle on it. There's also a baseball cap with a triangle on it and a pair of sunglasses. All distinctive, all things that we would ask the public to look for. And
so just more pictures of Tyler. Okay, I'm not gonna show this because that has too much stuff with the other kids. So the parents were definitely proud of his accomplishments as far as taking the ACT if you've ever taken an SAT and ACT, you know, woo child. So getting high scores on that is actually commendable, right? To get high scores on those. So definitely someone smart and definitely could have possibly been anything they wanted to be, but we don't know what led to this whole unaliving of Charlie Kirk. A family member said that Charlie Kirk was full of hate. So what did he consider to be the talking points and rhetoric and controversial topics of Charlie? Was it specific ones? I'm curious to know what did he consider to be hateful about Charlie Kirk as far as the exact statements that he found to be problematic. Okay, the last thing I wanted to actually talk about is, let's see if we can find anything on the roommate really quickly. On the friend that he was texting. So usually you can find him in those shades, or even and then keep in mind that at 22 he's old enough to drink. Okay, he's old enough to drink. Hold on. What's this? So yeah, the mom during my live, the page went down. So she put her Facebook on private, should I say. Okay, now people are trying to spread that he was a part of some Democrat Socialists of America. Where's the evidence and proof that he was a member of the Democrats, Socialists of America? Where's the proof? Because so far they're showing no affiliation to either party. So people are definitely going to be trying to find anything they could try to attach him to being a Democrat. People are a mess. And even if he is, it doesn't speak for every Democrat, just because if it turns out that he is, even though he's not showing that he's affiliated through voter records. But yeah, that's what people are definitely looking for. And then people are still trying to push the whole transgender thing as well. Child, please don't have another person out here like Candace Owens saying having him as born someone else. Please, okay. Okay, and once it gets to the like full-on conspiracy, I'm not going to be reporting on it because I don't get into all the conspiracy world, okay, realm. Hold on. Some things are just matter of fact. It is what it is. Yeah, hold on. Next thing you know, he's gonna be he was actually born as one of his older brothers, and he took over the other brother's identity. It's people be coming up with some other weird stuff. So this is him getting his driver's license. You know, this is actually what people will consider like, oh my gosh, a kid got driver's license at a certain age, 4.0, middle school, graduated from high school, good high ACT scores, got the scholarship, $32,000. Like, this is what someone will say, okay, now what happened to this kid now to unalive and take out Charlie Kirk? So he's with his father. He's old enough to drink. What's this? Hold on. He definitely likes to wear baseball cap shades. And the people are going to say, okay, well, this is a kid probably from a Republican family. And then, you know, taught to use guns, this and that. And then he goes off to college, and then college brainwashed him into turning him to some radical left, this or that. Yeah. That's going to be probably the narrative. Now, I will be honest when I say that college can, once you go to college and you're closed-minded, it can be open-minded to meet other people of other groups, ethnicities, cultures, and things like that, to where you'll become less closed-minded to understanding, oh my gosh, we're not as different as people make it out to be. A lot of these stereotypes and other things are not true. It can make you, you know, more like humanize others, because you could have been dehumanized to certain people, or feel like, you know. So it could definitely be make you more open-minded to go off to college, okay? But others will see it as, oh, they brainwashed them into another thinking, when it could be a positive as he opens someone's mind. Now, again, not all college students that have their mind open-minded are going to actually unalive someone, though. Come on. Hold on. Okay, let's look at this really quickly. This is like so small, I might not even be able to read this. Hold on. Let me see if I can find this on a different website that's bigger. Hold on. Shout out to Down the Rabbit Hole News. Wait. Says check your DMs for the probable cause affidavit. I see it. Thank you so much, girl. I appreciate it. I wonder if it's still on another website, because it's kind of small print, and I'm on my PC. Oh, okay. I can see it now better. I zoomed in. It's crazy because when something is blurry and small, you zoom in, you expect it to be extra blurry. But so yeah. In the county of Utah, state of Utah, affidavit of probable cause. Tyler James Robinson, born 2003. I'm gonna give the full thing. And then it says on September 12, 2025, on September 12, 2025 at 4 p.m., the defendant was arrested for the offenses of count one, aggravated murder, count two, felony discharge of firearm causing serious bodily injury, count three, obstruction of justice, capital first degree felony conduct. I believe there is probable cause to charge the defendant with these charges because the following information was obtained by your affiant from police officers, multiple video recordings posted on social media websites, Utah Valley University campus surveillance cameras, and those who witnessed the incident. On September 10, 2025, Charles James Kirk was at the Utah Valley University campus in Orem, Utah, for a political event. Mr. Kirk is a conservative political activist who was scheduled to speak at an event in the courtyard area on the UVU campus. The courtyard area is to the west of the Losey Center building. According to video recordings, Charles was wearing a white t-shirt and dark pants, sitting under a white canopy in a courtyard of the campus facing to the east. The event was attended by hundreds of individuals. Charles was surrounded by people, with multiple individuals to his left, right, and rear in front of the canopy. Behind the canopy was a walkway used for access to various parts of the university. Charles was holding a microphone and speaking to a crowd. While speaking into the microphone, a loud gunshot was heard at approximately 12:23. And Charles appeared to have been hit in the neck. Blood was seen coming out of the left side of his neck as he fell over to his left. Charles was transported to the hospital in Orem. Charles was pronounced deceased at the hospital. Investigators reviewed the Utah Valley University surveillance cameras. While reviewing the surveillance cameras, investigators observed an individual on the rooftop of the Losey Center building on the UVU campus at the time of the shooting. Hereafter, the unidentified individual will be referred to as suspect. Based on surveillance camera footage, suspect appears to be a white male with dark colored hair, wearing a dark colored hat, sunglasses, a long sleeve black shirt with the picture of an American flag and an eagle printed on the shirt, dark colored jeans, and a white gray shoes with white colored shoelaces. The shoes appear to be consistent with Chuck Taylor Converse style shoes. Suspect is also carrying a dark colored backpack on his back. Suspect walks with a distinctive gait. Is a Gotter gait. I recognize that as well. If you were here yesterday, press 1, I recognize something was off with his walk. Yeah. And I think everyone noticed that there seems to be a limp as well. But even they think it was like the gun or rifle, like something he was carrying, causing a limp, but something off with his actual movements. And even not just walking down the road, but when he was actually walking up the stairs, it just seemed something was off. Hold on one second. Prior to the shooting, suspect appears to walk with a stiff right leg and at a relatively slow pace. Suspect's ability to bend his right leg appears to be restricted. Investigators were able to track suspect's movements on the UVU campus starting at approximately 11:50 hours on 9/10/2025. At approximately 11:50 hours, a UVU surveillance camera first captured suspect walking across the grassy area near north of Campus Drive at approximately 800 West. Suspect walked south through the parking lot and approached and approached the pedestrian tunnel that runs underneath Campus Drive. Before entering the tunnel, suspect paused at the top of the stairs and pulled out what appeared to be a cell phone from his right pocket using his right hand at approximately 11:53 hours. Suspect eventually put what appeared to be a cell phone back in his right pants pocket using his right hand. Surveillance captured suspect making his way toward the Lousy Center. The Lousy Center or Lousy Center, Lousy, I would say Lousy Center. Lousy Center at approximately 12:02 hours. Suspect was recorded walking on the north side of the Lousy Center building, walking with the same gait or as observed earlier. Suspect entered the Lousy Center building through a set of doors on the southeast corner of the Lousy Center building at approximately, and then it cuts off. Suspect was observed walking. Let me see if the next page will show it. Center building at approximately 12:15 hours. Suspect was observed walking up the stairs that led to the common area adjacent to the Lousy Center building. Suspect walked to a short concrete wall that separates the common area from the rooftop of the Lousy Center building. At approximately 12:17 hours, suspect climbed over the short wall and appeared to crouch down on the north side of the wall on the rooftop. At approximately 12:22 hours, suspect stood up and started running across the rooftop of the Lousy Center building. The notable limp from previous surveillance was absent. Suspect ran to the west side of the rooftop and appeared to scoot along the rooftop area as he got closer to the edge of the rooftop. At approximately 12:22 hours, suspect laid down in a position consistent with the prone shooting position near the edge of the rooftop and appeared to be facing west in the direction of the courtyard area. The rooftop of the Lousy Center building overlooks the courtyard area where the event featuring Charlie Kirk was taking place. The Lousy Center building is east of the courtyard area. At approximately 12:23 hours, Charlie Kirk was shot. At approximately 12:23 hours, surveillance shows that suspect stood up suddenly from the edge of the rooftop and sprinted north on the rooftop of the Lousy Center building. Suspect ran to the northeast corner of the Lousy Center building and approached the edge of the rooftop. Suspect placed a dark colored item on the rooftop and proceeded to lower himself off the rooftop. Suspect dropped off the rooftop onto the grass below. Suspect ran north near the parking lot to the east of the Lousy Center at approximately 12:24 hours. Suspect ran north across the Campus Drive Road. Suspect appeared to be carrying an item whose identity is not clear from the surveillance. The area to the north of Campus Drive Road where suspect crossed over consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt action rifle wrapped in a dark colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser model 98.30-06 caliber bolt action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings and found with the rifle in inscriptions on a fire casing read notices of bulge OWO, what's this? Inscriptions on the three on fire casings read hey faces, catch, up arrow symbol, right arrow symbol, and three down arrow symbols. A second on fire casing read Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow. A third on fire casing read, if you read this, you are gay. Laugh my ass off. Investigators Investigators also discovered a shoe impression on the northeast corner rooftop edge of the Losi Center building. The shoe impression was located in the vicinity where a suspect climbed down from the rooftop. The shoe impression is consistent with the shoe sole characteristics of a Converse Chuck Taylor shoe. On the evening of September 11, 2025, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at UVU. This information was also conveyed to the FBI investigators, review additional video footage from UVU surveillance, and identify Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29, colored shorts, a black hat with the white logo, and light colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with the surveillance images. Just a second. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, 2025, and in conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they did not like him and the viewpoints he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed the roommate, who stated his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact name Tyler with an emoji icon in Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler. Hold on one second. Stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush. Messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also referred to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. Based on the evidence detailed in this statement, I believe there's probable cause that Tyler Robinson committed the crimes of aggravated murder by shooting Charlie Kirk, in a circumstance that put many around him at grave risk of death. Felony charge of a firearm and obstruction of justice is for moving and hiding the rifle believed to be used in the shooting. By submitting this affidavit, I declare under penalty of the state of Utah that the foregoing is true and correct. Brian Davis. So that's a probable cause affidavit for the arrest of Tyler Robinson, okay? Hold on. So yeah, I was right about Gate. Hold on. Gout is like a freaking, that's something to do with a whole different disorder. Gout. Oh no, I said that. Yeah, it's definitely Gate. Yeah. Hold on. Okay, I need to close some of these tabs. I have like a million tabs open. Well, I didn't want to close that one. Shout out to CC. Thank you so much for the fan funding super sticker. Again, shout out to CC. I appreciate the fan funding super sticker. Y'all, something else. I appreciate the support. And everybody else, remember, support my channel for free just by what? Hitting that like button. So let's look into what Discord is he posting in? Because if you're posting in a Discord or something like this, what type of Discord that is? It has to be people in there that you would expect to probably cover for you or be a part of something, or to be affiliated, or it has to be some sort of group where people have some sort of, where they would keep this. Oh yeah, so people are actually, they're posting like all sorts of things. Let me show y'all some of the comments that's being posted on the mother's, why the mother deactivated her social media. This is some of the stuff that was posted on there. Amber Jones, people say murder. You can delete, hold on. You can delete posts, but can't delete your son's past. Tyler is a dead man, disgusting mate. Your son is going to hell and you're a disgrace. Keep deleting them, laugh my ass off. You raised a killer. So these are the types of comments that are on that social media page. So as you can assume that she finally figured out that she should deactivate her social media and to also stop people from taking the pictures from the page. I'm gonna put on a video because I want to look up something, but I can't not look up stuff at the same time while I'm talking. I'm gonna put it on a video while I look at something, and then yeah, we'll go from there. But yeah, even like I said, his siblings, all of them can be pictured with weapons like guns. So they start them in that family from an early age of learning how to use guns and weapons. So that's why he seemed to be like, so like, oh, this is someone that's experienced. It's because of that. No, I don't want to do that. Okay, let me put this on while I look up something real quick. Hold on. But as I figure, people are going to be focused on what their party affiliation, so they can try to find something about him, right? And it's all going to just try to be a way to be divisive. Like, how can we other him to make him an other, an outsider, to where we can point to something and then point to a certain group of people? Yeah. Hold on.
This morning, President Trump announcing on Fox News, on the show Fox and Friends, that a suspect is now in custody. The shooter, believed to be the shooter in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We have NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky on the ground in Utah. He is there on site. Morgan, thank you very much for being with us. President Trump saying about this person of interest. What exactly do we know so far? Why are officials confident they have the right person?
That is a question we hope to ask here in a press conference, Savannah, in about 45 minutes in this very building behind me. And we know that FBI director after. As for the next steps of the person who pulled the trigger, that video showed them leaping off the building. And that was one of the videos released late last night. Guys.
And Morgan, it seems like one of the videos that made a big difference, knowing that somebody who seems to be familiar with the suspect is actually who alerted authorities. Morgan Chesky in Utah for us. Thank you so much. I want to bring in our national law enforcement and intelligence correspondent, Tom Winter. Tom has been all over this. You actually have some new information for us this morning.
Yeah, Savannah. So it is, as authorities described, an individual in their early 20s, 22 years old, from Utah, the person that is now in
is the suspect in custody. He is from Utah. He's in custody and with state authorities in Utah, born in 2003. And Tyler Robinson is the suspect in custody. He is from Utah. He's in custody and with state authorities in Utah, born in 2003. And so Tyler Robinson is the name that, according to multiple sources, is the suspect who is in custody. From our reporting, we understand he has been in custody for a number of hours now. And what happens with that, as Morgan was just saying, there was a point where authorities knew very little about who this person was. Well, once you have an individual identified, many new doors open. Tyler Robinson will now be subject to having all of his electronics reviewed, subject to a search warrant. And that would be the typical process now, that once he's identified and in custody, authorities are able to get the court permission to execute search warrants. That could be places where he lives.
So let's see this right here. Hold on. So Amber Johnson, Matthew Robinson, wait, my bad, I'm sleepy, y'all. Amber Robinson, Matthew Robinson, Tyler Robinson, of this address 894. Let me go back, double check, make sure. Scroll. Not that one. Yeah, 894 West. Okay, I'm making sure I had the right one. Okay, so let's go back. So 894 West, Cimarron, okay? So Amber, like, as I said earlier, Republican Party, Matthew Robinson, Republican Party, Tyler Robinson, unaffiliated. So with that being said, two Republican parents, good old boy kind of setup, to be honest, with the guns, going to this gun range, firing range, a lot going on with them, Republican Party, how all these pictures and everything, how he was raised, Republican Party. And then he is unaffiliated. So he chose not to choose a party. He didn't choose Democrat. He didn't choose Republican. Not at that moment when he first signed up. Okay, unaffiliated when he registered. So I suspected that the both parents will be Republican because the mother was Republican, and I figured that the dad would be too. Not always the case, but yeah. Voter status inactive for Tyler, unaffiliated. Let me look this up one more time. Let me see. Washington, Utah, and look it up again. So with that, I'm looking up it again. Let me actually go. So this is actually the live. That's not. This is a screenshot. I'm showing you where it came from. And so I'm actually gonna click on. Let's see, Amber. I'm gonna click on view details for Amber. And let's see, for Amber, party affiliation, Republican Party, registered to vote. It's not giving a registration date for anyone, really. I was looking for that. Washington County, Utah, so she's Republican. Voter status is active. So now let's actually go to Matthew, the father, and see what his says. Republican Party, active. Okay, so yeah, so the parents are both Republicans. He's unaffiliated. His is actually inactive. He has not kept up with his voter registration. And yeah. Okay, what did someone else want me to look at real quick? Oh, they wanted me to talk about the Discord or text messages or whatever's happening with the friends. So let me see if I can find anything.
Seizing any phones, digital footprint, any of those things. Also checking the records for the purchase of the weapon that was used here. Can they tie that weapon to him? All of those avenues are now open to federal authorities. This is a state crime, not a federal crime on its face, meaning a murder is a state crime. They would be looking for any avenues that allow them to find some kind of federal charge, if there is one that's applicable and appropriate, to add to this case with the joint work of federal authorities and state authorities. Tyler Robertson is the suspect, according to our sources.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.
Hold on one second.
22-year-old who is accused of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a press conference that we watched live here, just as Josh Haskell, who is in Utah right now. The press conference began with the governor, Spencer Cox, saying, "We got him." Josh Haskell joins us now again. And Josh, you were listening to this. One of the things that jumped off the page for me, as far as the investigation, which is what we are learning today, is that no additional suspects are being sought. And I say that jumps out at me because they were looking at messages from Robertson to his roommate, explaining that he had to retrieve a gun in many cases. And I think this needs to be mentioned to people who are watching us now. In many cases, that might seem a conspiracy, but they are really going out of their way to make sure everyone understands that Robertson is the lone suspect in this.
That's correct, Philip. And I've seen just within the last few minutes some new reporting from ABC News, speaking with some friends, classmates who knew Tyler Robertson, saying that they are shocked by this, that he was a nice person, really kept to himself, a little reserved, but really would not talk too much about politics. But we did learn that he had told, sounded like family members at a dinner recently, that he was aware that Charlie Kirk was coming here to this campus where I am right now in Orem, Utah. I want to give a few more details what we have learned about Robertson. We know that 22 years old, taken into custody last night, about 4 hours from where I am right now. He lives with his family in Washington County, Utah, taken into custody around 10 p.m. This is what we're learning, that his father played a critical role in his arrest, Philip. We're learning that his father convinced his son to turn himself in, that Robertson initially said no, but changed his mind. His father called a youth pastor who was also a U.S. Marshals Task Force officer. The task force officer advised him to have his son stay in place. The U.S. Marshals took him into custody and then contacted the FBI. I also want to highlight that towards the tail end of that press conference, very powerful words from Utah's governor, Spencer Cox, reflecting on this situation, saying that this is a watershed moment for our country where we will make a decision whether we will escalate things or find an off-ramp. That remains to be seen. He also said that there is just one person responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk, and that is Tyler Robertson. Philip?
Well, also, Josh, I do want to point out, I thought the Utah governor was very direct, not only in the information he released very early on, but then his personal.
Again, most people talking about those messages are people talking about the messages are people talking about the probable cause affidavit. So the probable cause affidavit is what I just read, okay? So that gives some information. Now, the people that are going to be following this have to keep in mind that most people who are going to be finding stuff are people that are doing their own investigation, like web sleuths will find more information, okay? The police don't always release all evidence that they have on a case in an open investigation, okay? Yeah. So we have to find this stuff ourselves, most likely, okay, until otherwise shown by the authorities.
Revelations late. I was struck by the comment where he said, this is either the end of a dark chapter or the beginning of a darker one, and that we have to make a choice on that. But I wanted to ask you another element that just popped up in the ABC News report. They talked about Robertson having attended UVU for about a semester. And when it comes to that piece of the puzzle, I'm wondering, now that you're on the scene there, it kind of maybe gives you an idea as to how he was able to know where to go to get away, because he did get away and get down 3-4 hours away in the southern part of Utah. And whether he attended the university for a long period of time or just that semester, it does give him a familiarity with that area.
Yeah, that's correct. We know that he arrived on campus early Wednesday morning between 8 a.m., 8:30 in the morning. The shooting happened around noon. And he obviously, because he had told people, was aware that Charlie Kirk was coming to campus. He had also said something to family members about Kirk being filled with hate. About it sounded like his distaste. I also thought that some of those revelations about what was found on some of the bullets and some of the different cartridges. One of them read, quote, "catch fascist," the governor talking about that. And it does seem like his vehicle, which they were able to connect to Robinson, played a critical role in this investigation, that his car was spotted here on campus. How about that video, Philip, that was released last night, and those photos that showed the shooter leaving the roof, running to the edge of that roof and then jumping off of it? It does seem like this investigation moved very, very fast with all those new photos and videos. Authorities really felt like someone was going to recognize Robinson. That clearly did happen.
And Josh, not only that, but they gave the detail of the fact that he changed clothes before leaving the roof and escaping. They also mentioned the weapon, which is a 30-06 with a scope. That was what they talked about. And for people who aren't familiar with weapons, that is generally speaking a hunting rifle. So it is a powerful weapon, but it is not the type of weapon that we see in mass shootings. But it is very powerful. It is with a scope and a rifle. I was shocked, Josh, not only by the things that the governor was willing to share personally, but early on there was a lot in the way of detail that he gave out, and then he pulled back and said, we're not going to talk much more. But they have a lot of evidence here that they plan to present over the next 3 days, because it will probably be 3 days before he's formally charged and arraigned.
Yeah, those communications, it sounded like communications that Tyler Robinson had with friends on that chat group, Discord, that investigators were able to interview that friend, have him pull up those messages, and then take photos of them, those messages talking about the gun that you just mentioned, talking a little bit about this plot, not too specifically. But I also want to mention that this happened at 10 p.m. last night, again, 4 hours from here. Since this shooting happened on Wednesday, over 12,000 tips have come in, over 200 interviews. And really, the governor talking about how the whole state, so many people have been engaged in this. So many people here were supporters, fans, interested in Charlie Kirk, whether they agreed with him or not. And the FBI and investigators really used social media and really used those photos and videos to get that information out. And the public clearly saw all of that. I'll send.
What are people doing? Y'all, I will say this, be careful with people posting anything without real receipts. People are posting that he's a part of all these different groups. Where are the receipts of these different groups? Hold on. They're trying to say he's part of Antifa, and then it says some sort of socialist group. Lord have mercy. Well, anyways, I'm not seeing any evidence of what they're saying. Okay, there has to be better evidence than just posting that. Hold on. So I will look into this more. But yeah, just check out, if you're just getting here, just check out the document I read, the probable cause affidavit, the pictures that kind of go into his history, especially with how he became experienced, using weapons. So yeah, that's going to be the main thing, is that people are going to Discord is like a public place. I mean, they have private servers, but for him to post in Discord messages like that, that's people are going to wonder what type of Discord it is. What is the Discord for? Like who's all in that Discord? Because that should be something to where people are going to think other people are involved, because why would he actually think it's safe enough or discreet enough, or like no one is going to know outside of this Discord. That's like snitching on yourself unless you feel like that's a safe place or a safe zone to speak or say certain things. So that's definitely going to be a question as to what type of Discord it is and what is it for, the purpose. And again, so far those Discord messages are being discussed in a probable cause affidavit, but they do not specify as to what exactly was shown or show anything. Okay.
Our special breaking news coverage continues right now here on CBS News 24/7. I'm Errol Barnett in New York. Moments ago, the FBI announced the gunman accused of assassinating activist Charlie Kirk is now in custody, and he's been identified as 22-year-old Tyler Robertson, who was turned in part thanks to cooperation from his family. This morning's press update began a short time ago with remarks from Utah's Governor Spencer Cox.
We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robertson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robertson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robertson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes.
Now, we want to use our special VR technology to help spell out for you what investigators then explained happened next after Tyler Robinson arrived on campus in that clothing. Investigators believe that below me, where you see the distance, about 400 feet between where Tyler Robinson was believed to be on the rooftop and where Charlie Kirk was holding his event, convincing students to prove him wrong. Investigators said a few moments ago that it was up here on the rooftop of this building where Tyler Robinson then changed out of that plain maroon shirt and light colored shorts into the black clothing that he was witnessed wearing. After firing the shot, he then crossed across the rooftop, which you see in this footage, with a bag, jumped down to the grassy area near the parking lot, and then proceeded to cross a road nearby and head into a wooded area. All of this suggesting prior thought, strategy, and planning before the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Investigators also say that people close to him, his friends and his family, had said that he had become more radicalized and political lately, and talked to them about Charlie Kirk coming to campus, and that in his opinion, in the opinions of the suspect, Charlie Kirk was full of hate. So that footage was recorded just to my left. CBS News Justice correspondent Scott McFarland joins us from Washington with more on how we're now getting a fuller picture, Scott, of the intent of this individual, how he was able to pull this off. But investigators also said they do not believe there are any other suspects or people of interest at this time. What jumped out to you?
Yeah, the governor described this as somebody who had become radicalized or politicized in recent weeks or recent months, and that the family was noticing that, but that it also was the family that got the confession from Tyler Robinson, brought it to clergy, brought it to law enforcement, and ultimately resulted in Tyler Robinson being arrested and jailed in Washington County, Utah. Washington County, Utah, roughly 3 or 4 hours away from Utah Valley University.
Also, neighbors of the Robinson family told USA Today that they attended the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, whose members are known as Mormons. So that's for people to know, you know, what's the family's religion. They attended the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, whose members are known as Mormons. That's what it's stating. And so people are really just repeating the same stuff from the probable cause affidavit. So that seems to be the most recent information. What do neighbors of the Robinson family have to say? Christian, who has lived 2 doors down for the last 16 years, said she has known the suspect's family for decades. A head custodian with the Washington County School District, she said she watched the boys grow up and often crossed paths with the family at church and school events. She said he was always very quiet and had just a few friends. She said, I think he was more on the musical side, very smart. She said she believes social media may have played a role in shaping his views. There's just too much hate out there, she said. I know he was not taught those things. I have no hate for him, even though I loved Charlie Kirk. I rather tried to understand what was going on in his mind. She described the suspect's mother, Amber, as a very beautiful, sweet woman, and said she was heartbroken for the family. Adding to the shock, she said her own grandson had been at the Charlie Kirk event. My feeling was at least it wasn't a mass shooting. And I kept on saying that. This could have been a mass shooting. He could have just taken out a bunch of students there and it could have been a mass shooting. But he just targeted Charlie Kirk. She said, so about the mass shooting, the funny thing is my daughter is actually hosting an event for mental health. It just makes you think. So it's already happening as I would expect. There are going to be neighbors interviewed, family, friends, different people are going to be interviewed, coming forth, giving their perspective of not only Tyler, the suspect, but also the family. So I want to know more details about the family dinner prior to September 10th and the conversation he had with another family member mentioning Charlie Kirk coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had, Cox said. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. So he knew that Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. He did not like Charlie Kirk. He believed that he was full of hate and spreading hate. And yeah. And authorities tie him to the crime through a review of online messages, interviews with his family members and friends, and surveillance video. The messages included some sent on Discord, a popular online chatting platform. Discord is not the same as like Twitter and Facebook, where it's easily searchable to find someone's Discord or find certain things in Discord. It's not as, as far as social media goes. But make sure you sign my petition. Please sign my petition, because listen, Matthew Dowd from MSNBC was actually fired. He actually said, that a possible motive for the suspect was that someone did not like. Now, is it right that he was unalive because of his beliefs? Not really. However, a possible motive, which everyone has been speculating as the motive, is that people or someone did not like his speech, his rhetoric, and the things that he said. Is that a justification to unalive someone? No. However, is that a motive for a suspect? People have to understand the difference between a motive for a suspect and victim blaming. A motive for a suspect says, why does the suspect act the way or behave the way? What was their motive or their justification for their crime? It's not saying that it's valid. It's just saying what is their possible motive. So him mentioning a possible motive about it being about his hate speech or divisiveness is actually going to be on point based on what the family member is saying, that Tyler did not like Charlie Kirk's hate speech or hateful messages. So should someone actually be fired for telling the truth about a possible motive, or just giving their opinion on a possible motive? So anyways, sign the petition. I don't really think that I don't think that Matthew should have been fired from his job at MSNBC as an analyst, because if you are an analyst, I want you to get stuff right. Don't be an analyst and you're called and you're not going to get stuff right or know how to analyze a situation or probably guess or speculate as to what you think is going on. Yeah. So isn't that what he's supposed to do? But yeah. So anyway, sign that petition, please. So let me go back to this video and I'm going to wrap up. Hold on.
Tyler Robertson now is being held as a local inmate, but federal charges are imminent. If not today, I'd expect charging documents, criminal information filed over the weekend, Monday morning at the latest. And there'll be a procedure for Tyler Robertson to make a preliminary appearance in court, potentially in both local court and federal court. Two different cases are brought. And what the governor described is just this series of granular pieces of evidence that would likely be presented to a judge at a detention hearing. The inscriptions, the engravings on the bullet casings, including the words "catch," "fascist," and "Bella Ciao," a famous in Italy during World War II, during their fight against the Nazis. The 11,000 tips brought in by the Fed may include something specific for prosecutors to use, but they have this information about the firearm because they have the firearm, this unique rifle with a scope on top, the bullet casings being distinguishing. And Errol, I think it's worth a conversation that these bullet casing engravings, these inscriptions, they are becoming a potential source of copycats. We've seen them in other cases in recent months, and there's fears we see them again in future shootings.
Well, the governor and other officials from the FBI spoke about a heightened sense of fear in the United States because of what seem to be ongoing acts of political violence against people on the right and the left. How important will it be in the investigation into this that investigators are careful of what to release and also to tamp down the pressure of political rhetoric in the U.S. in the days ahead?
The governor spent a lot of his time, even before taking the news conference this hour, trying to do just that with an extended message of we have a pivotal moment now, a potential off-ramp, or we continue down this road of increased political toxicity, increased political violence, and increased death. He used the phrase social media is a cancer. He emphasized those words, that social media is spinning up so much of this hatred, that there may be foreign players involved, ginning up Americans through social media channels, which is a bit of a contradiction, though, in this case, because federal law enforcement, the FBI director himself, was using social media as the singular platform to provide updates on this case prior to last night. So there's a contradiction there in what social media should be doing with cases like this. But the FBI director, you heard from him today at the news conference, he credited law enforcement with being expedient in this case, moving in his words, I think record time, he said. A 33-hour manhunt is not shorter or longer than any other previous manhunts, but it did result in an arrest in a case that captured the attention of the world.
An important time, especially when you consider how much misinformation was available online as it relates to this horrific incident. To be diligent, be extremely diligent with what you.
So also knowing now that the father actually recognized his son, and imagine when his stomach dropped, when he probably like, oh my gosh, that looks like my kid. And then, he actually confessed to his father that that was him, right? And looking at the poll, Tyler Robinson, 22, 4.0 from middle school, even high school, high scores, ACT scores high. I don't know what else is going on with this 22-year-old, but ultimately the youth pastor was called, and ultimately, Tyler did not want to turn himself in, but I guess he was convinced to turn himself in, okay? And they made it so he could safely turn himself in. So as a parent, would you have turned your kid in, or would you have tried to? I mean, you're going to be guilty of, accessory after the fact by hiding them or helping them to escape. Would you have helped them to, get out of the country or, get away or be on a run? Or what would you have done in this situation? Or would you have turned them in, knowing that they are mentioning the death penalty? They are actually going out here mentioning the death penalty, so you already know that that's what they're looking for. The parents are Republicans, so they're Republicans. They probably do like Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump. I mean, Republicans, typically vote Republican. So now that he has been turned in, so what? Take the poll. That is very hard. That's a very hard. I'm sure the father probably, even thought about, like, this is my son. You could tell that through all those pictures of the family that they are definitely broken at this point. And then, yeah. And the father, I'm sure he's probably kicking himself, like, the reason he knows so much about guns is because I taught him and I got him into guns. I got all the kids into guns. So that actually gave him the expert. Let's be clear, I'm not blaming the father at all. I'm saying like what the father might be thinking, because the reason he is so skilled at weapons is because guess what? He has been taught how to use weapons from an early age. So anyway, take the poll and let me see what you all think.
You consume and share. Scott McFarlane in our DC bureau, thank you very much. We want to share with you the first person to break this news, President Trump, this morning at approximately 8 a.m. Eastern, as he was appearing on Fox and Friends.
With a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody, right? In custody. Everyone did a great job. We worked with the local police, the governor. Everybody did a great job.
CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand is at the White House. Natalie, as we've been speaking this morning, you've noted that the president gave as much detail as he could while appearing on that program, and was also the first person to release information that Charlie Kirk had in fact died. What stood out to you from the president's remarks and actions this morning?
Yeah, Errol, it speaks to the investment, the personal investment the president had in this case, the closeness, the friendship he had with Charlie Kirk. He's been shaken all week. We've heard that and seen that visibly since this political assassination, and the president pledging to commit federal resources to finding whoever was responsible. This is an assassination, a crime, horrific.
So yeah, people are going to go with the narrative now. Okay, so Amber, his mother, is Republican. Matthew, his father, is Republican. And then it seems to be an okay kid. And then boom, he goes out to college. He's radicalized. And now he's this shooter. So that's going to be the whole narrative. We still are waiting for more details. But yeah, so that's going to be the whole story behind what's happening, okay? I mean, that's what the people are going to be spinning. That college changed him and this and that. And I see that it's like a kind of like similar to, I gave the religious background already. And here's the thing. College been seen as a negative because it opens people's minds to that he was actually, that a lot of his speech was divisive, hate speech. It was. So him recognizing the hate speech is right. What's wrong in the decision is that how he reacted. Violence is not a way to deal with the hate speech. Being vocal, he could have used his voice. He's right. He's smart. He could have actually became a lawyer, or he could have became something else, or used his smartness or his brains and to lend a voice against the hate. Research, just being a voice, that could have been more helpful or beneficial. Speech, freedom of speech. Use that speech and use your voice to help out. That would have been the best route. So college opening his mind is to that the fact of hate speech and being hateful towards other groups is not the issue. It's the fact that he decided to use violence to deal with the hate. Millions of people around the world deal with oppression and hate, and they don't use violence to deal with it. They speak out, they're vocal, peaceful protests and just speech and just to try and fighting for rights and legal ways of getting this message across, of fighting for equality and justice. And then there are others that take the law, vigilantes, and take things into their own hand, and they feel like they're going to be violent. So the college opening his mind to things being hateful is not wrong. What's wrong is his decision on how to act on that. Okay. So people are always acting like, oh, college is a bad thing. No, there's people all around the world that open their minds as to people go to college, and sometimes that's people's first introduction to other communities, cultures, groups of people, and they learn how to empathize with people that are different from them. And then people are humanized, and they're like, oh wait, I was taught this, or I was taught that, and I was thinking this way or that way, and now that's not true. So then it leads to more of a world where people would rather be, to be honest, where there's less hate and there's more people seeing you as a human instead of an other. The othering of people is what causes the issues in the world. So with college, a lot of times it reduces people from othering others and seeing others as a human and not an other. Okay. So if people are taught that, that's great. With that is to not deal with that or solve issues with violence. So that's the issue, is the violence, not the teaching, but the violence. Yeah, and the schools are not teaching to deal with it in violence. It's through education and through research and through just using your mouth should be the answer. Okay.
Incident that has shaken this White House and the nation, given the closeness of this relationship. The president this morning on Fox describing Kirk like almost a member of his family. He had a direct line to President Trump as a close advisor, friend, and ally. That's something that started on the campaign trail. Kirk gets a lot of credit for really mobilizing young conservative voters and helping to cement President Trump's second term win. He also had an extremely close relationship with the vice president, J.D. Vance, so much so that J.D. Vance canceled plans yesterday to appear at a remembrance for 9/11 at Ground Zero and instead fly to Salt Lake City and retrieve Kirk's body. In light of this breaking development today, he posted on social media, "This is a big breakthrough, and everyone who helped, from the law enforcement professionals to the people giving tips, deserves our credit and gratitude. In some ways, the investigation is still in the early days, but I do believe we have the shooter in custody." He goes on to say a prayer for Erica Kirk and those two beautiful babies. Of course, Kirk leaves behind a wife and two young children. Vance spent time with them yesterday when he traveled from Utah to Arizona on Air Force Two. Kirk is from Arizona. That is where he will be laid to rest. And the president also confirming that he will be attending his funeral.
Natalie Brand with the latest at the White House for us. Natalie, thank you. We want to jump over now and bring in CBS News congressional correspondent Caitlin Huey Burns, who is in our D.C. bureau. Caitlin, President Trump said he wants Tyler Robinson, this 22-year-old, to get the death penalty. President Trump also saying that he does plan to attend the funeral of Charlie Kirk, who, as Natalie...
So do you all think or believe that this Tyler Robinson should get the death penalty? He turned himself in and things like that. Do you think that he should get the death penalty? That would be my last poll, and then I'm going to get off for real. I know I keep on saying that, but I'm trying to actually find something. Hold on. What is this? Hold on. Okay, let me look at the current poll we have. Would you have turned your kid in? Let's see, 62% says yes, they would have turned their kid in. 18% says 19% says no, and 19% says still thinking about it. To be honest, I would not turn. I hate to say it, but I wouldn't. The person has to turn themselves in. So I think that's probably why they were trying to let Tyler make his own decision. Because if someone makes their own decision instead of you making it for them, it makes it more better. Like, you know, just trying to persuade the person, hey, turn yourself in, but ultimately and then they decide, hey, I'll turn myself in. So it looks like they probably did that by saying, like, turn yourself in. He refused at first, but then they tried to convince him to turn himself in. So it's kind of like they could have just called and just reported it, but it looks like they tried to convince him to turn himself in, and then he agreed. So I think I would go along that route, like talk to the person and then like them turn themselves in. I don't know. I'm not gonna be. I don't see myself picking up a phone like, hey, yeah, they have to turn themselves in by, child. I don't know, y'all, but yeah, people are like, oh, why would you? Now, if it were like, I'm not even gonna try to make comparisons between different crimes. I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, I'm not gonna go there because I just thought about it. Like a sexual assault crime, I would turn the person in. I'm not even gonna go there because then people start saying, oh, what, you're making comparisons between crimes. Well, I'm just being honest. Okay. Anyway, let me take this poll down, child. Let me do a poll. Let me put up a new poll. Thank you, Dani, for all you do. Appreciate you sending roses. I think so much. I appreciate Leslie. Again, shout out to Leslie. I appreciate the fan funding. Y'all, something else. I appreciate the support. And everybody else, remember, support my channel for free just by hitting that like button. So my last question of the day is, do you believe that he should get the death penalty? So let me actually put that poll up.
Laid out wasn't just a key political figure for Republicans, but also, a father of two, a husband whose family is deep in grief today. How is this hitting Washington?
Well, Errol, it's important to note that, too, his proximity to the president, he was thought of as a family member to this president, and we've heard so many stories about that. But, Errol, I wanted to highlight what we just heard from the governor of Utah there, Spencer Cox, because I can tell you that we've been on Capitol Hill the past several days talking to lawmakers about what should be the response, how can you tone down the rhetoric, and we really haven't seen many leaders rise to this occasion. And we did see Governor Cox provide an example of some much needed leadership there. He delivered the facts of the case. He grieved this tragedy and recognized that grief, and also called upon our better angels. And I just want to read a quote from what he said today. This is an attack on all of us, an attack on the American experiment, an attack on our ideals. This cuts to the very foundation of who we are.
And also, I will have to say another factor that I just thought about that could be influencing my decision is that he's 22, and I see 22 as a jitterbug, especially when someone had their whole life ahead of them, good grades, this and that. I guess I need more information as to the motive. I don't know. I just feel like the age is a whole. If this person were 40, even 30, or way older, I would have a different opinion. I think the fact that a person is 22 makes you feel like this person's a jitterbug, just college student, just younger person. It may, I don't know. And then the photos of the person, I think that's taken into that a factor. Again, if the person was 40, I definitely would have been saying something totally different. 30, but like 22, jitterbug, just started being eligible to drink. Totally different decision making going on here.
Who we have been and who we could be. And Errol, he offered a bit of advice that I think all of us can take, should take, which is log off, go touch grass, hug a family member. And I think that is what so many, not only in Washington, are feeling, but across the country, people who have felt so connected to this person, either from social media.
Yes, I mentioned that the father, if you don't turn someone in, you can get in trouble. So I mentioned that. However, in this situation, if you're actually just going outside of it, if the father and son were the only ones having this conversation, and then how would anyone know that there ever was a conversation if the kid just disappeared and just went to Mexico? And there was, if there were evidence of the father helping, then yeah, but there was no evidence that the father helped the kid get away. Then the kid could just be on the run by themselves, and the parents were like, oh, I didn't know. I'm just saying, there are ways like that, unless it becomes 100% sure that you helped that person get away. But I'm just saying, usually I think I would try to convince the person to turn themselves in. And then if they don't, then ultimately I might have to do it myself. But I would rather for the person to turn themselves in and then for me to turn them in. So I would try to convince them to turn themselves in, should I say. And then hopefully they'll just turn themselves in so I wouldn't have to do it.
From a public perspective, or didn't have any connection to him at all and are just grieving a horrific shooting at a time that it just feels like this happens too often and shouldn't happen again. And I think the governor really spoke to a range of emotions that people are feeling across this country as a family has lost a father, has lost a husband, a son, and I think the governor is someone to watch as we move forward in the lack of real politics kind of taking hold here. He noted that there is an off-ramp if we choose to take it. It's a choice.
Caitlin, it's a great point. The governor's saying that he believes this is a turning point in the United States, but the reality of that is up to Americans to decide. Caitlin Huey-Burns, my thanks to you and to Scott McFarlane and Natalie Brand for our continuing breaking news coverage. On the news now that 22-year-old Tyler Robertson, accused of assassinating conservative activist Charlie Kirk, now in custody.
So take the last poll of the day and also make sure you sign my petition. Hold on. Right. So yeah, 2 Republican parents. His party affiliation is he's non-affiliated, unaffiliated, no party affiliation. I read over his affidavit already. Let's see. Yeah, this is crazy. It's crazy how someone like his whole $32,000 scholarship, high ACT scores. Also, what happened to his college, like, as well? Anyways, enjoy the rest of y'all's weekend. I hope y'all enjoyed the live, and make sure you catch the replay to go over the affidavit and other information I discussed earlier in the live. And on the replay, make sure you hit that like button. Also check out my community tab. If I find anything else, I will post it to my community tab. Okay, so make sure you're on the lookout for that information. Yeah, and definitely sign a petition. So the main thing I'm looking for now is I want to know more about his thoughts and feelings towards Charlie Kirk. What did he find problematic about his statements? When he, when the family member is saying, what did maybe the family member can expand on or elaborate on what they mean by what he expressed his sentiments towards Charlie Kirk. Like, what exactly in more detail did he find to be hateful about what he said? Like, what talking points, what topics? So yeah, be more specific as to that. That's what I would want to know. So that was a different photo. This is a different video. The other one they posted before, he was walking down the road limping, and this one he actually stands right there by that bush. I'm sure that after he on a live Kirk, he started thinking like, oh my gosh, guess what? I can't believe I just did this. He probably had thoughts about what he did. Anyways, bye y'all. I'll see y'all later. Bye.
You gon' fuck around and find out. You gon' fuck around and find out. I'ma put your ass in timeout. I'ma give your ass a knock. I'ma give you a whooping your mama shoulda gave ya. Oh, you gon' fuck around and find out. I got time today, you gon' find out. Any place, map it out. It's on sight. You gon' pull up, you ain't gon' pull off. You gon' fuck around and find out. Oh, you thought you could try me. Oh, you thought you could play me. I'm the coach, you the player. You can't teach the coach. You can't play the coach. You can't beat me at my own game. You can't cheat when it's my game. Checkmate, don't calculate. I win, you lose. That's 1 for me, 0 for you. You gon' fuck around and find out. You gon' fuck around and find out. Why the mother bitches mad? Why bitches hate it, these bitches is mad, these bitches is sad. Cause they fuck around and found out. You gon' fuck around and find out. I'ma put your ass in time. I'ma give your ass a knockout. I'ma give you a whooping your mama shoulda gave you. Oh, you gon' fuck around and find out. I got time today, you gon' find out. Ain't the one to play with, go play with your mama. Ain't one of your little friends, go play with your coochie. Cause it's played out, ran through just like you. You gon' fuck around and find out. You gon' fuck around and find out what them other bitches talking about. How I beat them, how I quit them. You gon' fuck around and find out. Them other niggas try to play me and they got played. Like a fiddle, now they feeling little, like a handful of cards. I saw their hands, I saw their cards. Played them before they could play me. They fuck around and found out. Treat me like I'm dumb, you gon' look dumb. You gon' fuck around and find out. You gon' fuck around and find out. I'ma put your ass in time out. I'ma give your ass a knockout. I'ma give you a whooping your mama shoulda gave you. You gon' fuck around and find out. I got time today, you gon' find out. Your mouth gon' get you in trouble. Humble yourself before I humble you. Because if I clock you, I'ma rock you.